Have you ever laid next to someone and wondered, not if he wants you, but if he loves you? I mean, really loves you, from the heart. Not just out of routine, not just for the warmth of a body beside him, but because your soul speaks to his in a way no one else ever has. You're not alone. In fact, women over 55 ask this question more than you'd think, because when you've shared years, maybe even decades with someone, it's natural to wonder, is this still real? Is he here out of habit? Or because his heart still reaches for me, even when I'm not looking? I've spoken to so many women, smart, strong, deeply loving women who lie awake at night asking, does he touch me with love? Or just desire? Is his affection still rooted in who I am or just who I used to be? If any of this sounds familiar, stay with me, because in today's video we're exploring 9 things men do when they make love from the heart. These are the subtle signs, the tender clues that reveal whether his love is skin deep or soul deep. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Let's get into it. Sign 1. He expresses his love through kissing. Kissing might seem like a simple, almost automatic act after decades together, but the truth is, it still speaks volumes. And as we get older, those little gestures become more important, not less. You see, when a man kisses you with love in his heart, it's not just about physical closeness. It's about presence. It's about connection. It's about telling you, without using words, that he still chooses you. Right here, right now. A man who truly loves you doesn't wait for the right moment to show affection. He kisses you in passing, when you're stirring soup at the stove, when you're folding laundry, when you're lost in thought. It's not for show. It's not for convenience. It's because in that quiet second, he feels something so real and warm that he has to share it with you. And those moments, those soft, unexpected kisses, are the ones that mean the most. They say, I see you. They say, I still feel lucky to be here with you. But for many women over 60, those kisses start to fade. They become fewer, shorter, rushed, and you start to wonder, does he kiss me because he wants to or because he thinks he should? That doubt creeps in. It grows quietly, especially in the stillness of long days. You might not say it out loud, but deep down, you miss that feeling of being kissed, just because he couldn't help it. If this sounds familiar, it's okay to feel it. You're not being needy. You're not being foolish. You're simply remembering what it feels like to be loved fully, and missing it when it's gone. The absence of those small signs doesn't mean the love is gone, but it might mean it's time to reconnect. To speak gently and honestly, to make space for affection again, not out of routine, but out of the desire to feel close once more. Because a kiss from someone who truly loves you from the heart doesn't just touch your lips, it reaches all the way down to the parts of you that still long to be cherished, to be seen, and to be deeply loved. And that kind of kiss, that kind of love, it still matters, maybe more now than ever. Sign 2. His eye contact speaks volumes. They say the eyes are the windows to the soul, and when it comes to love, that couldn't be more true. As we get older, we begin to see that love is no longer just about grand gestures or romantic words. It's in the quiet glances, the small moments of connection, the way someone looks at you without saying a single thing. A man who truly loves you will look at you with eyes that don't just see, you feel them. His gaze lingers not because he's staring, but because he's present. Because in that moment, there's nowhere else he'd rather be. This kind of eye contact isn't forced or dramatic. It's natural, soft, filled with admiration. It shows up when you're telling a story, even one he's heard a dozen times. It shows up in a room full of people, when he glances over just to check in, silently reminding you that you're still his person. That kind of eye contact is rare, and when it's there, you can feel it. It says, I know you, and even more powerfully, I still want to. But sadly, many women go years without that look. Some can't even remember the last time their partner truly saw them. Not just glanced their way, but saw them. Really saw them. And over time, that absence creates a silent ache. You start to wonder if maybe you've become invisible in your own relationship. If the person beside you still sees you as a woman, as a partner, as someone who matters in the way you once did. That's the consequence of missing eye contact. It's not just physical, it's emotional erosion. It chips away at intimacy without saying a word. When eye contact fades, so does connection. Often quietly and unnoticed until the distance feels too wide to bridge. But here's the hopeful truth. Real eye contact, meaningful eye contact, can be rebuilt. It starts with being present, setting down the phone, turning off the TV, and simply choosing to be with each other. It starts with speaking from the heart and looking into each other's eyes when you do. And it continues when both partners allow themselves to be vulnerable again. Because it takes vulnerability to truly look at someone and let yourself be seen in return. So if your partner still looks at you with that familiar softness, if his eyes still search for you in a crowd, if you catch him watching you during the quietest parts of the day, don't dismiss it. That's not just a habit. That's love, showing itself in one of the purest forms. And if it's been a while since you felt that kind of gaze, it's okay to want it back. You deserve to be seen with love, not just remembered, but cherished. And sometimes it all starts with a look. If you found these insights valuable, let me know by commenting yes below. Your thoughts matter, and I'd love to hear from you. Sign 3. He takes his time with you. In a world where everything feels like it's running on a clock, appointments, deadlines, errands, it's easy to overlook one of the rarest and most precious gifts anyone can offer: their time. Especially in love, time isn't just about hours spent together. It's about presence, about how someone chooses to be with you when they're with you. After all these years, many women still find themselves wondering, does he really want to be here with me? Or is he just going through the motions? And that quiet question, left unanswered too long, can turn into a deep ache. A man who truly loves you doesn't race through his moments with you. He slows down. He listens. He looks at you when you speak, not through you. He chooses to sit a little longer, stay a little closer, and savor those ordinary minutes as if they mean something. Because to him, they do. Love that endures doesn't live in big romantic gestures. It lives in the way someone makes you feel like you're not competing with the rest of the world for their attention. There's something deeply revealing in how a man spends his time, especially as life gets busy or complicated. A loving man will never make you feel like an obligation. Even when he has a lot on his plate, he carves out moments just to sit with you, to hear your thoughts, to hold your hand. Not because he has to, but because he wants to. It's not about grand plans. It's about that quiet willingness to slow down and say, without saying a word, "You matter to me." I remember a story from a woman named Eileen, 68, who had been married for over 40 years. Her husband, Frank, had always been practical, rarely one for sweet words. But after he retired, something changed. Each afternoon, without fail, he'd sit with her by the window, just to have tea. No agenda, no phone, no TV. He called it their sunset hour. One day, Eileen asked why he kept that little ritual, even on busy days. Frank simply said, "Because I don't want to miss us." That's what it looks like when a man truly values his time with you. He's not just physically present, he's emotionally invested. And if you find yourself in a relationship where time feels rushed, where you feel like you're always waiting for a moment that never comes, it's okay to feel that sadness, because no one wants to be loved out of routine. We want to be loved on purpose. The truth is, when someone slows down for you, listens with real attention, lingers a little longer than necessary, it means something. It means they're still choosing you, still wanting you. And when love is real, you'll feel it not just in special occasions, but in the most ordinary, quiet hours. That's where intimacy lives. That's where love breathes. If you found these insights valuable, let me know by commenting yes below. Your thoughts matter, and I'd love to hear from you. Sign 4. He's not afraid to show vulnerability. The strongest hearts are not the ones that never break, but the ones that dare to open again. For many men, especially those in their later years, showing emotion isn't something that comes naturally. Society didn't teach them how. Most were raised to be stoic, to keep their feelings tucked away behind a strong exterior. Vulnerability was something to avoid, not embrace. But when a man truly loves you from the core of his being, that instinct begins to shift. Slowly, carefully, he starts to let down his guard. This shift doesn't usually happen with grand declarations. It shows up in quieter, more meaningful ways. Maybe he starts to talk about his fears, of growing older, of losing people he loves, of feeling like time is slipping away too fast. Maybe he shares regrets he's carried for decades, things he never told anyone. Maybe, for the first time in years, he lets his voice crack when he talks about his father, or admits that some days he doesn't feel as strong as he used to. When this happens, don't underestimate it. It's not small, it's not casual. For many men, it takes an enormous amount of courage to speak openly about what lives beneath the surface. And if he chooses to share those parts of himself with you, it means he sees you as more than a companion. He sees you as his safe place. Many women, especially in long relationships, begin to wonder whether the connection is still deep, if the bond is still emotional or just practical. But if your partner begins to open up about what truly weighs on him, that's your answer. That's love in its most raw and honest form. Because love from the heart isn't always shown through flowers or compliments. Sometimes it's shown through the simple, vulnerable act of saying, "Here I am, all of me. I trust you to hold this." If you've seen this in your partner, if he's ever let the mask slip and shown you the man behind the smile, hold that moment close. It means his love isn't shallow. It's rooted, real, and wrapped in the kind of trust that only grows with time. That's not just love. That's a legacy. Sign 5. He is fully present when he's with you. Did you know that according to a study from the University of California, couples who practice attentive presence report 60% greater relationship satisfaction than those who don't? In a world flooded with distractions, phones chiming, TV in the background, emails lighting up the screen, giving someone your undivided attention has become rare. That's what makes it so powerful. When a man truly loves you, not just in a surface-level way, but from a deeper, emotional place, he will do something that many overlook. He will be present with you. Being present isn't just about physically being in the same room. It means mentally and emotionally tuning in, shutting out the noise and making space for connection. For older couples especially, this matters even more. As we age, time begins to feel more precious, and those little moments, talking over morning coffee, sharing a quiet evening on the couch, become the core of our emotional intimacy. I once met a woman in her early 70s who said something that stuck with me. She told me her husband used to listen to her with his eyes, that even when he didn't say much, she felt deeply heard. But as time passed, the phones, the habits, the fatigue, those small distractions started creeping in. Conversations became less about sharing and more about passing time. And eventually, even though they were in the same room, she felt invisible. That feeling, being in the same space yet unseen, is more painful than loneliness. It's emotional abandonment in disguise. And it happens quietly. A man who truly loves you will make sure you don't feel that way. He may not always have the perfect words, but he'll look up when you speak. He'll pause the TV to listen. He'll ask how your day was and actually care about the answer. He won't just be next to you. He'll be with you. Because your presence is not background noise to him. It's what matters most. If you've noticed that your partner gives you his full attention, that he engages with you, remembers what you say, and takes the time to truly listen, know this: that's not a coincidence. That's love in its most grounded form. And if that presence has faded, don't despair. Bring it back with intention. Put down the phone. Look him in the eyes. Say something worth pausing for. Love can be rekindled in those quiet, present moments. Because in the end, love isn't about grand gestures. It's about the everyday moments when someone chooses to put you first, not out of obligation, but out of genuine care. And that choice, again and again, is what real love looks like. If you found these insights valuable, let me know by commenting yes below. Your thoughts matter, and I'd love to hear from you. Sign 6. Intimacy is more than just physical. Physical attraction can light the spark in a relationship, but it's never enough to keep it burning through the years. What sustains love, what gives it depth and strength, is emotional intimacy. When a man truly loves you, his desire to be close goes far beyond the bedroom. He doesn't just reach for you when he wants something. He reaches for you because it soothes him, grounds him, brings him peace. And you can feel the difference. Let me tell you about Diane and her husband, Charles. They've been married for 42 years. Diane once shared that when they were younger, their relationship was filled with the kind of heat and passion you read about in novels. But what moved her most, what made her believe in his love even more, were the quiet years that followed. After Charles had heart surgery at 69, their physical relationship changed. There was less urgency, fewer spontaneous moments, but what replaced it was deeper. He started sitting next to her more often just to hold her hand while watching TV. He'd gently tuck her hair behind her ear while she read. He started kissing her on the forehead every night before bed, no matter how tired he was. Not out of habit, but because he wanted her to feel safe, seen, and deeply loved. One day, after a particularly hard medical appointment, Diane felt overwhelmed and anxious. Charles didn't say much. He didn't offer advice or try to fix anything. He just pulled her close and let her rest her head on his chest. That, she said, was the moment she knew this man wasn't just with her. He loved her. Through aging bodies, through quiet days, through decades of ordinary moments turned sacred by love. True intimacy is not about desire alone. It's about care. It shows up in small gestures, a hand on your back as you walk through a doorway, a warm glance across a room, a kiss on the cheek not meant to lead to anything else. These are not just signs of affection. They are proof of connection. When a man cherishes you from his heart, intimacy becomes less about what he wants from you and more about what he wants you to feel: secure, valued, adored. And if you've ever doubted your worth because things have changed with age, please hear this. Your value has never depended on your appearance or physical availability. Real love doesn't fade with time. It softens, it deepens. It learns to speak through touch, silence, and shared history. So if your partner still reaches for your hand in the dark, still smiles when he sees you first thing in the morning, or still lingers a moment longer in your embrace, that's love. That's the kind of intimacy that endures, and that's the kind that matters. Sign 7. He engages in deep emotional conversations. A man who truly loves you from his soul, not just his body, will want to know who you are beyond the surface. He won't just settle for casual conversation or daily updates. He'll want to understand the layers of you. Your joys, your regrets, your dreams that still flicker quietly in the back of your heart, even after all these years. That kind of man doesn't just ask how your day was, he asks how your heart is. This depth of interest can't be faked. It shows up in the way he listens, in whether he remembers what you said a week ago, not because he had to, but because it mattered to him. In the way he circles back to things you mentioned in passing, or brings up something he knows you care about, not just out of politeness, but because he wants to make you feel known. If your conversations feel like they never go beyond weather, errands, or aches and pains, it can be a lonely kind of silence. Many women, especially later in life, feel emotionally invisible in their own relationships. They share a home, a bed, a history, but not always a connection. They wonder quietly if anyone truly sees them anymore, if anyone really hears them. But when a man is emotionally invested, his curiosity about you doesn't fade with time. It deepens. He'll talk with you not just because it's expected, but because hearing your thoughts, your fears, your hopes, it matters to him. He'll open up about his own inner world too. And those conversations, even the hard ones, become a kind of sacred ground. That's where real love grows, not in the easy talk, but in the honest, vulnerable moments. There's something especially meaningful about deep communication in our later years. Because by now, we know what it feels like to be dismissed, to be interrupted, to feel like our voice no longer carries the same weight. But being with someone who makes you feel heard again, who looks you in the eye and makes space for your truth, is healing. It brings peace to a heart that's carried decades of unspoken things. So if you found yourself wondering whether your partner truly loves you, take a quiet look at your conversations. If he seeks to know the woman you've become, not just the woman you were, then he's still holding your heart with care. And that, my friend, is a love worth keeping. If you found these insights valuable, let me know by commenting yes below. Your thoughts matter, and I'd love to hear from you. Sign 8. He doesn't pretend to be perfect around you. Did you know that? According to research published in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships, emotional vulnerability is one of the strongest predictors of relationship satisfaction, especially in long-term couples over the age of 60. It turns out that what really deepens connection over time isn't constant strength or romantic gestures. It's the willingness to be real, raw, and imperfect. That's why one of the most telling signs that a man truly loves you from the heart is his ability to let his guard down. Many men, especially those who grew up in a time when emotions were seen as weakness, carry the weight of always needing to appear strong. But strength isn't silence. Real strength is trusting someone enough to say, "I'm struggling." If the man beside you can admit when he's wrong, show you when he's tired, anxious, or afraid, if he can come to you not just in celebration but in self-doubt, that's not weakness. That's love. That's trust. And at this stage in life, trust is everything. When a man truly opens up, it's not just because he needs to share. It's because he believes you're the one safe place in the world where he can be seen fully, flaws and all. That kind of intimacy is built slowly, with patience and care. And for many women, It's what they've longed for. Not grand declarations, but quiet truth. A man who doesn't hide behind pride or perfection, but lets you witness his full, unpolished self. Unfortunately, many women go years, decades even, without ever being let in fully. They live beside men who provide, protect, show up, but never reveal. And that can leave you feeling deeply alone, even when you're not physically by yourself. It's the ache of being next to someone and still feeling like a stranger. But if your partner is someone who lets you see behind the mask, who doesn't pretend to have it all together, who shares his fears and failures without shame, that is love in its most honest form. That's not just companionship, that's emotional partnership. And it's rare. Because true love isn't about being perfect, it's about being real. And if he's brave enough to be real with you, it means he loves you with a depth that no surface-level relationship could ever match. If you found these insights valuable, let me know by commenting yes below. Your thoughts matter, and I'd love to hear from you. Sign 9. He pays attention to the small details. Love isn't always about the grand gestures. It's not just the anniversary dinners, the flowers on Valentine's Day, or the vacations you took years ago. Real love is found in the quiet moments, the ones that seem small to the outside world, but speak volumes to the heart. A man who truly loves you doesn't just say it, he shows it in the tiniest ways, every day. He remembers how you take your coffee, not because it's written down somewhere, but because he's been paying attention. He notices the shift in your voice when something's bothering you, even when you try to pretend you're fine. He brings up stories you told long ago, the ones you didn't think he'd remember, because in his mind, your words matter. And that's the difference. A man who doesn't care deeply will forget the details. He'll overlook the subtle signs, but a man who loves you from his heart sees you in full color. He listens, not because he has to, but because he wants to. He doesn't need a reason to remember. You are the reason. At this stage in life, when so many women feel invisible or overlooked, these small acts of attentiveness become lifelines. You've spent years caring for others, your children, your family, maybe even a spouse who never truly understood how to care for you in return. And after all that giving, you wonder, does anyone see me now? Am I still known, still valued? The answer is yes, if he remembers the little things. Because that's what real love does. It holds space for you in all your quiet moments. It doesn't ask for performance. It doesn't forget the softness in your eyes or the way your voice trembles when you talk about something dear. It doesn't require you to speak loudly to be heard. So if your partner notices those small things, the glance you give when you're tired, the way you fold the laundry, the scent you always wear, it means he's still choosing you, even in the silence. And that is a love that runs deep. In a world where so many women over 60 feel dismissed or misunderstood, don't underestimate the power of being seen in the little things. Because that kind of love, that's the kind that lasts. So my dear, we've just uncovered 9 beautifully telling signs that reveal when a man doesn't just want you, but truly deeply loves you from the heart. Not for convenience, not for physical closeness alone, but for your soul, your presence, your whole being. Let's take a breath and reflect. Has someone ever kissed you like they were holding something fragile and precious? Have you ever felt truly seen just from the way a man looked at you across the room? Have you felt his patience, his emotional honesty, his willingness to sit with your heart and offer his own in return? If even one of these signs rings true for you, you are being loved in a rare and powerful way. And if not, don't lose heart. Real love doesn't always arrive on schedule, but when it shows up, it's unmistakable. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these signs have you experienced? Which one touched your heart the most? Let's talk in the comments. You never know who your story might comfort or inspire. If this video spoke to you, give it a like, share it with a friend who needs this reminder, and subscribe so you don't miss our next talk. Because around here, we don't just talk about love. We live it, grow it, and cherish it together. Until next time, take care of your heart. It's worth everything.